Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Ann Gillies. I'm back on to talk about a few things. We're still in Ottawa, and the background you see is, yes, our trailer. And I have this on because I don't really need a heavy hat, but it's still cold enough that my head is cold. Thankfully we have some furnace to take the chill off. Anyways, none of that is important. What's important, I want to talk to you today about why I'm here. I've been asking everybody else kind of why they're here, but let me tell you why I'm here. So in 1994, I started studying same-sex attraction, and I learned a lot of things about it, and I was researching it. And so I've been doing this since 1994. And then gender dysphoria, about 10 years ago, I started looking into that. At that time, it wasn't a thing like it is now. At that time, Dr. Jordan Peterson was still practicing. Actually, 2015, he was fired, but he was still practicing. He was still allowed to speak the truth to families and especially to children. And but at that point, and I started tracking things that were happening in our country, in Canada, and how truth was being suppressed. In fact, truth was becoming hateful. So, so I really started doing a lot more research, and then I wrote a book in 2016 on it's called Deep Impact, and it's integrating theology and psychology into the treatment of complex trauma, because that's been my practice as a therapist for 25 years. So I wrote that book, and the next year in 2017 I released Closing the Floodgates, setting the record straight on gender and sexuality. So in 2017 I also went to Ottawa, and I took my book, boxes of them, and I gave them out to mostly conservative MPs. And there were many friendly MPs that read it and commented on it and were in agreement. They understood that there is an underlying agenda promoted by LGBTQ activists. I'm not saying this is the individuals within the culture, but it is the activists in the culture that have promoted the agenda that has captivated our country and our culture. So I was speaking out about all of that and saying, look, you need to look at the history. You need to pay attention to what has been going on for years, and that this is a strategy. This is a strategic way to change the minds of the populace, and they've been doing a good job at it. So, saying all that, then later, I think it was 2018, or maybe it was even 2017, I applied to speak to our local school board. Now, I live in Ontario, and our local school board is Grey Bruce School Board, Bruce Grey School Board Association. So I applied to talk to them and took research. I'm not talking off the top of my head here. I am talking about stuff that has been happening for years, and it is solid research. They didn't want to hear it really, but I was allowed to speak once, and it was on the transgender, and it was on puberty blockers. I was talking about, hey, what are we teaching our children? We need to teach them the whole truth about these things, not just what is happening and what is being taught in our education system. So then I applied the next year to go back and talk to them again, because there was really good new research coming out about what was happening to these children, and the whole issue of puberty blockers and longitudinal studies, which of course there aren't any that have been done, and academia shuts down such studies. They don't want to talk about it because guess what? They've been bought out by big pharma. You can shut me down, shut me off, whatever you want to do. I don't really care. I've been talking about this for years, but they've been shut down. And so those who are in the mental health field, psychologists, psychiatrists, mental health workers, marriage and family therapists have succumbed. Instead of losing their jobs, they chose to advance. Shame on you, all of you, who have advanced an activist agenda to harm our children. So I've never stopped speaking out. I have tried, I'm just looking at my husband here, that his noise in the background. Anyways, but I want to say that I've been speaking out. So the next year when I attempted to bring fresh research, which was really, really good, and it was actually quite damning for the agenda that's out there, the board of trustees refused to allow me to speak. These are adult people. These are adults. And they refused to allow me to come as a specialist and speak to them about what I had found out and what was happening and what was happening to our children and why this particular teaching in our schools of gender ideology is crippling our children. So I was not allowed to speak to them. Can you imagine? This is why we are standing in Ottawa, because the people of Canada do not have a voice in this country. The voice that we hear is the bought voice. The voice that has bought academia. It has bought scientific research. It has bought the medical society. It has bought the educational system. Wake up, people. This is why we are here. We are tired of listening to lies, and it's lies they've been telling us. So for all of that, then COVID came. So I was on tour in Africa. I was bringing teaching about gender ideology. I'll tell you, if you think you're smart in Canada, give your head a shake. I'm telling you, the Kenyans, I could not believe how uncorrupted their brains were and how brilliant they were. Now, these were pastors and leaders. The questions they asked would never be allowed in our universities, but they were thought through questions. They were awesome. I love Africa and I love the people because they haven't all drank this contaminated Kool-Aid of ideologies that's being preached in the Western world. Now, let me talk about COVID. So I was in Africa when COVID hit. When I went to Africa, just before I left, a couple days before I left, we'd heard rumblings of COVID and this virus. And my daughter, who is an amazing nurse, and was at Toronto Western, she said to me, "Don't worry, Mom. It's a virus. You're probably going to get it, but you're going to be all right." And I went, "Yay, thank you. I was going to go anyway. So, I'm not about to cower in fear just because of a virus. And I'm not saying we don't take precautions. So don't give me your head shake. But I'm not about to cower and stop living life because of a virus that may or may not be real. Well, the virus is real, but the pandemic, named pandemic, came after. So she said to me, "Mom, you're probably going to catch it. You'll be okay. Don't worry about it. Lots of people are going to get it." So that was her word to me as I left for Africa in 2020. So that was January 2020. Well, I ended up having to cut my trip very short because particularly my husband wanted me to come home because Canada was going to close its borders to us. Can you imagine closing the borders? So I got my son was with me. We got the last flight out of Kenya at 11:55, and at 12 o'clock Kenya closed all flights, shut all flights down. So we got back to Canada, no problem, interestingly enough, without any masking, without any I think we had our temperature checked at Frankfurt Airport. Get to Canada, nothing. They didn't even ask us anything. Do you have a cold? Do you have a sniffle? Do you have anything? No. No, they just let everybody in. I mean, really. So then we're back home. But I'm already skeptical because I come back home and I'm listening to all of this horror story of what this virus is going to do and this pandemic that's coming and that has hit us. Okay, so everything's locked down for 3 months. 3 months, right? Okay, so I'm listening. We're locked down. I'm thinking, okay, well, we want to see where this goes, but I'm not seeing the numbers that they predicted or forecast. In fact, I'm skeptical because of what I've read and researched for 20 years in academia. It's made me a bit of a skeptic because what is truth that's being spouted? Is it true? So already I was kind of like, okay, call me cynical if you will. I don't care. But the reality is, I was like, we'll see where this goes. So after the first lockdown, I'm like, let's go back to normal because quite honestly, folks, if you are relatively healthy, and I'm 66, guess what? I've had COVID. I had it in October. Yeah, it stunk for the first 3 days. Guess what? I took ivermectin. We have horses. Hello. We get to have this stuff on our farm, although they have outlawed it in Canada. Ivermectin, not the horse stuff. It's really actually for horses. But guess what? You can adjust the amount for a human. Yeah, we're not stupid. Anyways, you can't get ivermectin in Canada. Why is that? Why would they ban ivermectin, which has been used in humans for years, won a Nobel Prize for its usefulness in humans? Hello. And my daughter, my beautiful, beautiful daughter, in nursing, drank all of the Kool-Aid. No critical thought, just not thinking, quite honestly. I love her, but she isn't thinking. And just decided that I need to listen to those in authority above me. And I've taught my kids to listen to those in authority above them, always, all my life, because I believe in respect for those in authority. But those supposed people, academics, the doctors, Dr. Tam, who's hired by the Trudeau government, by the way, when they no longer allow anyone to share anything but their narrative, watch out. And so I've spent some time looking, and they're lying to us. Just as gender ideology has been lying. You cannot change a boy to a girl. A boy cannot be female. I don't care what people are saying, and the science is absolutely skewed and biased. It is produced by transgenders, big pharma, those who have high stakes in this. So, when the COVID rules started rolling out and rolling out and rolling out, I said, just a minute. And I think it was maybe May of 2020. I posted a video, one on the Great Reset, and then another one about one of my sons whose neighbor phoned the police on him because he and two friends were finishing the building of a roof over their deck. They were outside. They were socially distanced. They were all working at different areas. He was being very careful. He's cautious. The neighbor called the police on them. And I had the audacity to say at that time, what is this? Are we living in Nazi Germany? Well, I had friends text me and email me and say, Anne, you need to be careful. You can't say this stuff. Okay. I don't want to accuse someone falsely. That's not my purpose. But wake up. There's something wrong when neighbors call police on neighbors because their neighbors outside working. Give your head a shake. The truckers that are in Ottawa are saying, give your head a shake, Canada. Wake up. So I'm here for many reasons. Primarily because of my research with LGBTQ, particularly gender ideology, and the transgender phenomena that is crippling the medicalization of our children, destroying their lives from early ages, and our school boards won't even let me speak. That is tyranny. Tyranny. This is got to stop. So the people are speaking, and you can bet we're not going to stop yelling it from the housetops, because I am about truth. I have sought truth for many, many, many years. I've spoken truth, and I will not stop speaking truth. And for those of you academics who are saying, am I cynical? What's wrong with academia? What's wrong? It's about time you started looking and searching deeply what's wrong. Because I'm telling you, there are horrible things that have happened. The academics who have integrity and principle, they are honest, they have been kicked out of our universities so that those who are corrupt can rule. They've been kicked out of our American psychological associations. They're not allowed to speak. They haven't been allowed to speak for years. And you know what's coming, and I've said this before, is the next thing that is going to become an orientation, and this was tried in 2014, is pedophilia. I'm speaking on that. I've been speaking on that. I'm finishing my book, the third book. I'm not sure what I think it's going to be called Damaged, but look for it within the next 6 months. But once pedophilia becomes an orientation, you realize that it will become legalized. That's what's happened in the past. So it will be legal. I am here to shout for the children. We are here to shout for the children. We want to stop these agendas in their tracks, and we want to stop corrupt politicians. We want to stop corrupt governments. And it's not just Canada. Have you noticed the Western world are rising up? Let them arise. Let us arise to speak truth, and let's keep speaking it until these evil people are, number one, prosecuted, jailed for sins against humanity. I'm telling you, what is happening is absolute tyranny. Anyways, that's a very long video, but thank you for listening today. And yeah, it has been great to be with fellow Canadians in Ottawa. Hang in there. Never give up.